do we finally know what the building used for the former Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser will be? And it's going to be office space for Imagineering. I don't think this is what most people perhaps thought. Now, I had said all along, if you recall, in multiple episodes.
You did. You said it a lot.
They took a tax break on this when they closed it down. One reason they closed down the Starcruiser, it technically was open longer than a year, but they announced it closing within a year of opening. And one of the reasons was they were going to take a tax break on it. I forget how much they got, but by closing it down,
350 million.
I have no clue in the price. Like, but I was like, well, and Diamaro had teased before, be on the lookout. Something is happening with this thing. Like essentially sort of like acting as if something was going to happen here and get people hyped up for it. But at the same time, I even said to do anything with it outside of, I think they could have used it for storage, which is what a big rumor I'd heard, or obviously office space. But outside of like an actual attraction, you'd have to pay back that tax break that you got.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's probably a pretty economical use of the building space because considering those hotel rooms can be converted into offices.
Very small offices.
Very small. I will say it's got to be a little ominous to, if you're an Imagineer working in a building that is probably the biggest flop, at least in recent history of Disney, you're in the building in which was deemed a failure, which I mean, I know some people are saying it wasn't. Like, it clearly was. I mean, the idea was cool, but obviously the price point was astronomical for it. And I think the repeatability of it was questionable. Now, in its defense, everybody I talked to that did it loved it. Mm-hmm. Now, we never did it, and a lot of people did like it, but I always felt at the price point it was at, given it was a sequel trilogy only, you very much were limited to a very small group of people that were going to do this.
It was too, I guess, too niche down, too. It was like the price and just the fact that, like, just basically what you said.
Yeah, the price, and not only that, it's like you're essentially LARPing for not even 2 full days, was it?
It was, you get there at like 1 and then have the whole day the next day, and then you're done by that next morning. So
roughly 2 days-ish.
Yeah.
You're doing that. It's not like it was a relaxing thing. You had to be really, really into the story. And I just felt like it was very like niche in terms of the people that would do it. But I did think the idea was interesting. You could use this idea on some level for other things, but I think more than likely this idea and taking risk on it is probably dead because of, I think it could have worked on some level. Like you could do like a princess thing or something like that I think would be a hit. But I would imagine that Disney's not going to take a risk on this idea going forward.
I think also too, not to go too much into this, but they did open shortly after all the pandemic stuff. So I think part of the timing was bad too, because it was like, some people aren't doing so hot financially, and some people that maybe would have paid to do the Starcruiser before, maybe we're like, I can't do it now. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, on some level,
economy-wise, they just didn't.
It's the same gripe I have with Galaxy's Edge being it's only the sequel trilogy. I think if you open that up to all of the eras of Star Wars, prequel, original trilogy, sequel trilogy, same thing with this. If you would have had a story that maybe it rotated or it included other things, you would have opened it up to a larger group of people that would have wanted to do it, even at the price point it was at. I just think it was not only the pricing, but just the fact that it takes place only in the sequel trilogy was very much like you had to be really into the sequel trilogy to enjoy this.
Yeah.
And if you look at it compared to the prequels and the original trilogy, that fan base isn't nearly as big as those. So I think that was another thing with that. But
yeah,
I still think the idea of a Star Wars hotel would be cool if it was just a regular hotel that was themed after Star Wars.
Yeah.
That you didn't have to do the LARPing aspect to it. I think that would be something you could do, but
let's get it going.
Yeah, they're probably not going to do that would be my guess. But
right.
Yeah, that is going to be office space for Imagineering. No clue as to when they're going to move in or anything like that. So technically, the sign. What's funny, we were driving around over the weekend. The Galaxy's Edge, or not? Excuse me, the Galactic Starcruiser signs are still up
on the roads.
Mm-hmm. I mean, technically, I guess you could still drive. I don't know if they have a blocked off or not. I guess you could still technically drive up to the building, maybe.
I mean, that's where cast members go back there now. So maybe I don't know.
The signage is still there. I'm sure
at
some point they're going to have to get rid of the signage there.
Yeah.
Either way.